Hello and welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. You are listening to And Another Thing. We are Joella and Helene, and this is episode 6. Do you know what? As I just said that, I thought to myself, wow, I sound like a radio presenter just then. It's very enthusiastic.
We are enthusiastic.
Yes.
Well, maybe not as you so much because you've been at work today.
I have been at work today, but it was very much like, because when I listen back to everything, because I edit our podcast, and so I listen back to us all the time, but sometimes my hello, welcome, they're very sing-songy. I've adopted the Canadian sing-songs. But just then I was like, wow, look at me go. Radio presenter. BBC 2, here I come. No, what is it? Radio 2.
Your DJ this afternoon is Joella. What sort of radio station would you have? What music would you play?
If it was my personal radio station, I think it would be a mixture of indie music.
Mm-hmm.
Lately, I've been listening to a couple of New Zealand artists just because it reminds me of home.
Yeah.
For curiosity, if anyone ever wants to look them up, 660.
Mine would be all over the map because some days I'm like Ibiza dance tunes and some days I'm like chill yoga tunes.
Yeah,
like I'm just all over the map.
So would mine be. Like mine is mood-based. Music for me. I mean, I was listening to theatre music this morning when I was getting ready for work.
Yeah.
So
I think if I had a radio station, though, it would be fun music that you could dance to, like old disco tunes or stuff like that.
If you had to stick to one genre, that's what it would be.
So. Be like, oh, yeah, this was great.
I think if I had to stick to one genre, I think I might be a little bit nerdy here and just say I'll go for theatre music.
Okay.
Like for
I don't
musicals.
think you'd be on radio too.
No.
You might be on some other.
I'd be on some other.
Radio. You'd be on BBC Radio, but the numbers go down. Well, Radio 6 is very good, though.
Okay. Well, why don't they just create something that's new saying BBC West End?
Yeah.
And that could be my radio station.
Maybe there is them. We don't know about it. We're going to get yelled at now. Anyway, moving on. How did we get there?
Oh, because I felt like I sounded like a radio presenter.
Okay.
So, shall I start off?
Yes, please.
So, like I said, I edit all of our podcasts or all of our episodes. And while I was editing number 5 this last week, I was listening to us. And there's sometimes when I'm listening to us talk away and I want to interject and then like tell us the answer or give us the solution or tell us like, you're just being a bunch of wallies right now. Just sort yourself out because this is, you know this, but you're pretending that you don't or you've just forgotten or whatever. And one of them was the conversation about jams and jellies that we had last week.
Yeah.
And as I was listening to this, I was like, part of me got confused about the conversation. So if you got confused, I do apologize because we were trying to discuss what the difference between jams, jellies, and Jello. Jello also got thrown in there.
Yeah.
And because you don't have jelly in the UK.
We do have, there are like savoury
jellies.
Yes.
Which you'd have with cheese and crackers.
Yeah.
Okay. So then as I was editing episode 5 and listening to us talk on and on about jams and jellies, I was like, why didn't I just use my computer in the moment and just say, hey, I'll look it up and here's the answer. But I didn't think of it because we were just in the middle of a conversation. So for this morning, I mean, it's not this morning, for the beginning of this particular episode, I have found in my cupboard a jam and a jelly for Helen to try.
Yep.
The jelly is mulled apple cider jelly. What do you have for jam?
Vanilla chai and blackberry jam.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to spread it on a piece of bread so that Helen can try the difference. I actually haven't tried these 2 flavors before, but they sound really good.
I've never had a vanilla chai.
Pardon?
I've never had vanilla chai.
That was a new one that I found the other day. It sounded delicious. While she's spreading jams and jellies on our piece of bread.
I just have to tell you, though, I'm just spreading. I'm trying to be a bit quiet. But Joe, I'm not having butter on mine because I'm trying to get back in my summer shorts. But Joe likes to have butter. I love butter. I would have had butter. Joe's had butter, but it was hard butter. So instead of like spreading it, we've just got slabs. It looks like cheese of butter. I'm jealous of you. You're going to have that. Anyway.
My slabs of butter on my piece of bread.
Because it does look like cheese.
So if you were curious and you, like us, didn't use technology to figure out what the answer of what's the difference between jams and jellies, or if you already knew, that's awesome. I'm going to tell you what the difference between jams and jellies are. This is according to thefoodnetwork.com. And they say jams and jellies are both soft, sweet spreads made from fruit, sugar, and pectin. The main difference between jam and jelly is that jam is made with fruit, whereas jelly is made with fruit juice. As a result, jam and jelly have different characteristics. So that's basically it. They're kind of similar. You can use them both for spreads.
And cakes.
Cakes. Some tidbits and some interest on what a jam and jelly is.
There's yours.
Oh, with the slab of cheese?
Yeah, it has
That's actually butter.
Cheesy butter.
So what one's this? Is this our jam?
This is the jam, yeah. And it's got bits in it, like jam does.
Right. And remind me again what it was.
Vanilla chai blackberry.
Vanilla chai blackberry jam. Oh my goodness.
You like that? I don't like that.
That's very chai flavoured and very vanilla-y.
Yeah. How many blackberries are actually in this damn thing? You can't taste the blackberries. But it's the texture of jam with the fruit and the little bits in it and all that business. Mm-hmm. But I'm not taking a second bite.
Right. Okay. So that, although that's the flavour.
Yeah.
So the flavour for you on this one is a no.
Definitely.
And then our next one is the mulled apple cider jelly. Which...
So this is clear. It doesn't look very appetizing, does it, when it's clear without bits of fruit?
It really doesn't. It looks like gelatin with a bit of colouring in it.
Yeah.
Which doesn't look the best, but...
Tastes way better than that one. Mm. But I prefer a jam, like the texture of a jam.
Yeah.
This is so sweet.
So the jelly is made from the juice or the syrup of it, which I reckon would make it a sweeter kind of texture anyway.
Holy moly. I feel like I need to go to the dentist now. I was trying to be a bit away there so people couldn't hear me like
chomping away on the podcast. Anyway, there you go.
Yeah,
We've just tried jams and jellies. Both of us, yeah. But I think that's more than just the flavour of both of them because they're very unique flavours on both of them there.
I don't think I need to eat jelly again. It's just, but obviously I like jam.
I would have both of them with peanut butter. Not particularly that flavour, but a jam or a jelly with peanut butter.
Definitely not that flavour. Don't buy chai and vanilla. That's too many flavours in one jam.
It is, but good for them for creating something different.
Yes, well done.
It would be great in a pastry filling.
Yes.
Oh, that would be great as a Danish.
Make it completely different than just a piece of bread.
Anyway,
good tasty times to start
that's the jams and jellies concluded.
The end. Do we need another? I feel like I need a little slap of tea now to wash my... Excuse me a minute. We just had a long weekend here, a holiday, like a bank holiday on the Monday. It's called Victoria Day, or what's the other word for it? 2-4 weekend, because people buy beers. 2-4 beers.
That's so confusing.
But anyway, you get the Monday off work. So we've had.
Why is it called May 2-4 weekend?
May 2-4 because of the beers, something to do with beer.
Is that it? Well, hey,
why don't you Google it so that people aren't yelling at us?
The new regime of this thing called technology that I have at the hands of my tips.
I thought you said tits again then.
I know you did. That's why I looked at you and I was like, are you going to laugh at me?
Over a long weekend, you get weekenders in for the whole time. There was an awful lot of people that were in on Monday that hadn't actually been before. So they were the first-time visitors to the cafe. And one of the days, I can't remember, I really liked because I had a chance to go and talk to people that came in and that they just come for the first time. And sometimes we don't get to do that when it's super busy, but there was a lot of occasions where I was running food and clearing dishes where I could speak to people. But there was a few people that came in that would just have the silly questions. Do you want to do your answer first before I go into those?
Sure. So May 2-4. The weekend is also known as May 2-4 in some parts of Canada, a colloquial term referencing the date May 24. So it usually falls
nothing
around,
to do with beer.
Well, hold on.
Oh.
So Victoria Day usually falls on the Monday before May the 24th.
Right.
That's how it works. So a colloquial term referencing the date May 24 and the Canadian slang for a case of 24 beers.
Oh, okay.
When I first came here, it was May 2-4 weekend. And I was like, what?
What's
What
that
do you mean? And then you could get your case of beers. 2-4-24 or whatever it was. And I was just like, this is so confusing. I don't understand. Is it a long weekend for beer? Or is it actually for something else?
Something else.
It's Victoria Day, also known as May 2-4 weekend. Okay, so weekenders.
where people come out. So I got a few little stories of questions that people ask me. So I'm handing out some food at the end of the pickup counter people are taking away. And I'm like, 3 scones for Jim. Let's just call him Jim. And he's like, yeah. So I hand over the goods and I had another bag in my hand and he said, is that mine as well? I said, no, those are yours. Mm-hmm. And he's like, are you sure they're not mine? I'm like, pretty sure. Like, these are for someone else. How many did you order? And he said he ordered 3. And I said, there's 3 in there. Those are yours. Off you go. And he's like, well, who are those for? I'm like, it's none of your business. Take yours and off your trots and I'll find who these are for. It's not your concern.
Come on, Jim. Like, hop on your horse and
he was
get
so
on
concerned
off.
about, you sure they're not mine? I'm like, well, no, because you didn't order 6, did you? Jim? And I have a question for you, because this happened on the weekend, but it has happened before, where the people that are really watching the business as it goes, like as it runs, and they've seen that they've been sat first, and then a table close to them have been sat afterwards, but they have their food first. Has anybody ever said to you, can you tell me how long mine's going to be? Because they came in after me and they already have their food. Mm-hmm. So those people haven't worked. You would feel like hadn't worked in our environment.
Right.
Like if people are taking things to go, we try and get those people gone first. Or if it's just a simple order that you can execute really quickly, then do it to get it off your list.
Well, because there's a difference between having a coffee and a scone compared to having a full-blown meal with dessert and then drinks with it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot more to that order. It's a lot more of a process to be able to produce that particular lunch item rather than just a coffee and a scone.
So sometimes even if it's a sandwich, the ones that don't have to get grilled can be put together quite quickly and then they're taken out. So I'm like, these people have a soup and a scone and you've ordered a bigger sandwich that needs to be grilled. And they're like, well, and but they don't really listen because they always just say, well, we were sat first. It doesn't go in order all the time. So that happened at the weekend too, all the time. And that happens for takeouts too, doesn't it? Because we're handing something out that's quick. Like if somebody does just have a scone and they're like, well, I was here first. Yeah, but you haven't ordered something small.
People get irate quite quickly. You were telling me, I don't know if you want to tell the story today, but you were telling me the other day about how when somebody comes up to complain about something, they get their heckles up very quickly. It's like they're prepared to have a fight.
Oh, yeah, that happened
and
this
then,
week.
To kind of say, well, this and this and this. You're like, okay. Well, this and this. Okay. And then they kind of don't know what to do with themselves because we're not rising to the occasion to have the fight or to argue back or, And so I find it really fascinating that in those situations, people of the public, when they haven't worked in that environment before, whatever environment it could be, that they come in with their heckles raised
because
first
they
and
think
foremost.
that's how you get what you want.
Yeah, or maybe it's a protective thing to kind of say, I'm going to come in like a bull at a gate and then get what I want because this is what I deserve rather than...
Because when I asked that lady, I saw her coming up with a plate and I said, is everything okay? No, it's not. And I'm like, oh, here we go. And I did exactly what you said. I mean, I'm happy that she came up to tell me that there was something that wasn't right because we've also discussed this between us before, that we would rather that so we can fix it. And I did say to that later on when she'd calmed down and I fixed what the problem was. I mean, it wasn't really a problem. It was just something that she wasn't expecting, but that's how it came.
Right.
But she's like, the room, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's fine. And then she did it again and I'm like, no problem.
Yeah.
Like, and so go and sit down. And
we can fix it.
So I took it over and then later she said, thank you. And I said, well, actually, thank you for bringing it to our attention. I'd rather fix it now than hear about it later. So, but yeah, they come in so feisty, ready, or I bought this coffee and it's been ground incorrectly. Okay, I'll grind it for you again.
I saw this Instagram reel once where it was a deli meat shop or something, and then this woman behind the counter was standing there and the customer came up and said, something's wrong with this, I want a refund. And then the woman behind the counter was like, okay, no problem, I'll process that for you now. And then the woman kind of just stood at the other end of the counter and be like, and then the server goes and says, did you want to argue a little bit more? And then the customer just goes, I mean, it was a It was a spoof kind of video of whatever was going on and whatever I was looking at. And then the customer was like, well, yes, I did. And so the server goes and says, well, I'm not going to give you a refund. And then the customer was like, but I wanted a refund and this is not what I ordered and da-da-da. And so then they had a bit of a banter and then she gets the refund. And then afterwards, as she's getting her refund and she's going to go away, she kind of like very quietly and very slyly says, thank you so much. That was a lot of fun. And then she walks off.
It's true, though. It's like they do want a bit of back and forth and we don't entertain that idea. So it must be so disappointing.
It must be.
If you take something back, do you go in an argumentative mood or not?
No.
Even if you are so pissed off about what's happened?
If it's been a situation where I have not been treated with respect in the first place,
right,
then I feel like I'll come back with a bit more rudeness to just say, excuse me, this is not what I ordered. I would like whatever. But that's only because of the treatment that I've received at the beginning. So it's not what I go in first. But if I'm met with terseness or if I'm met with somebody else who wants to have a fight with me, sometimes, depending on what mood I'm in, sometimes I might push back and then other times I'm just like, this is not worth it.
Yeah. I'll go in and explain what my problem is. It could be a piece of clothing or, like anything. I bought this a few weeks ago and this has a hole in it. And then if they start, like I took something back once and they started smelling it, or you've worn it. I'm like, I haven't worn it. Like when you know you're right. But I initially don't go in with that because I know the joy that it's going to be from the other person when they go, no problem.
Yeah.
Kill you with kindness.
Yeah.
Then you just get squashed and you're like, should have gone in a better manner.
I had this one particular scenario. It was similar, but not quite. But it happened this week where someone in a wheelchair came into our store and we know her quite well. She's a regular of ours. And she came in and I was just like, I want to try and find space that's accessible for you. So give me a moment.
Oh, yes.
And so there were 2 people in line, but there was a cell phone on a table that was more accessible for this person in a wheelchair. And I was like, whose phone is that? So I went up to the people on the line and I just said, is anybody seated at that table? And this guy who's second in line said, yes, that was me. And I was like, would you be okay if you guys moved? And he's like, no. And he was so irate towards me. He's like, no. And I just said, why not? I didn't tell him why. I didn't give him the reason for why I was asking. And I just said, why not? And he said, because it's a table for 2 and there's 2 of us sitting here. And I just thought in that moment, I was like, it was a busy day. I literally just walked away from him. I was like, okay. And I walked away because I just thought, first of all, this is a pissing match and I'm not interested in playing the game. And second of all, I really wanted to make him feel like a dick because I wanted him to see, hey, you see this person in a wheelchair right behind me? I actually wanted to find something accessible for this person. I could have actually changed you to a different table, which was just as nice.
Yeah,
but
there was
you
table
chose not to.
4 slightly up that was a window seat too.
Yeah.
But the person he was with did notice why you were doing it. Because when I went over to the table, because I had actually said he could sit there. When it was quiet, I said, you can
So
wait
there
for
was miscommunication from our end. I didn't know that he had already been sitting there. I didn't know that he'd already been waiting for a little bit for his
because it was it was quiet when he entered. And I said, absolutely. So when I took the food over, she was talking to him and I said, and I apologized because I said, I know I sat you here. I said, so I'm sorry, that there was a bit of miscommunication there. Then I said, we just wanted to make room for and the wife interjected and said, for the lady over there. And I said, yes. I said, but it's fine now. She's going to be over there. So he did know. He goes, and then he apologized. So,
but it's that moment. So first of all, I wasn't in the mood to play the pissing match with him.
Yeah.
I knew I had to walk away because I would either have words with him or I just wasn't going to, I just knew that I was not going to be professional in that moment. And the best part for me to do was just literally to walk away. Yes. So I did. I turned
around.
I
wouldn't have to rescue the situation.
Yeah. And I found a solution for the problem in a different manner.
Yeah.
But it was again that sense of he had his heckles up. Like, why? I felt like going over and saying, there's this great line in Ted Lasso. I've not watched the whole series through and through. I just watch it through clips because I don't have Apple TV. Have you watched Ted Lasso?
No, never.
So there's this one line where Ted talks about how all the people used to bully him, and he saw this sign from Walt Whitman. The sign says, "Be curious, not judgmental." And I was just like, I don't know. Every time I watch that little bit of clip, it really sits with me, because I felt like going back to the man and just saying, why don't you just for a moment be curious? Instead of just being irate and saying no, just ask, can I just ask why you want me to move?
Yeah.
That's it. That's how it could have been resolved. I could have done it slightly differently. I can acknowledge that. But also.
But in the heat of the moment, sometimes these things don't happen.
Yeah. Anyway.
Also, that happens when we go to tables, when we're super busy, and there's because of the environment we have, lots of people like to come in and study and could buy a coffee and try and study all day. And then occasionally at lunchtime, we would ask them to move to like the bench seats, just so that we can free up a table for 4, so that we can accommodate people over lunchtime. And occasionally they'll say no. And you're just like, and I've explained the reason why. So I wonder if it's possible I could just move you here for an hour or so. I have a table of 4 that wants to sit down. No. It's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
sometimes the fights just aren't worth it, and you just got to walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those kind of issues. We also had lots of free-spirited kids in at the weekend, so that means lots of mess.
Yeah.
We had a lot of that. I had a lot of mess to clear up on tables.
Oh, this topic is such a one that ticks me off. I won't comment more on that, but
yeah,
kids in restaurants.
There was a lot of that at the weekend.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is this? It's just a load of pepper. I mean, and I try and curb it a bit. You know, you can't start parenting these children, but if they start to take things, and I'm like, no, that's enough, no more. And then if the parent came up and said, what's going on, I'd say, you know, this costs us money, and you're just letting them play with it. Why didn't you bring some noughts and crosses or something to keep them entertained if you're going to sit here for ages? But yeah, that happened. But there's some paper in the back room, and I took some paper out to some people, and you know, you can draw a picture. And
nice.
So
that's a good alternative solution.
It was.
All right. I think we need to have a break.
Clear up this jam.
Yeah. And we'll be right back.
Okay.
And we're back. Got ourselves sorted, put our jams and jellies away.
I have something that I'm interested about. You have mentioned it before, coming from New Zealand, about your busy times and how Christmas looks. Because our busy time where we live in Canada is in the fall, when people start going out, you know, like they start going to the waterfalls and looking at all the fall colours and the leaves and stuff. We get super busy then.
Right.
We only get really busy at Christmas when people are on holiday over Christmas. And then we get really busy in the spring again with people coming out of hibernation. And then in the summer, we are less busy on weekends because people are beer gardening and barbecuing.
Well, and going
or
to
away
cottage.
to cottages and stuff.
Yeah.
So what does it look like in New Zealand?
Because we're in the Southern Hemisphere, seasons are different than what they are in the Northern Hemisphere. Summer for New Zealand is at the end of the year. So it rolls over from around October, November to about February, March.
That's your summer.
That's our summer period. And that is busy.
Busy in restaurants.
When you're working in hospitality,
yeah,
it is busy.
Because of Christmas because it's summer and everyone's out.
Well, yeah, it's a mixture of everything. So I try and describe this to Canadians, but I don't quite know how to explain it well. In summertime, New Zealand's school system works from January to December. So schools get out probably about a week or two before Christmas, sometimes a couple of days before Christmas, depending on how it falls. And then they are off school until the beginning of February or the last weekend of January.
That's the summer holidays.
And that's the summer holidays. Within that, you've also got Christmas and New Year's. Mm-hmm. And then within that, you've got all the bigger corporation kind of businesses closed down for 2 weeks over that Christmas, New Year period.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot going on that kind of slows everything down in terms of people are on holiday. People are a little bit more chilled. There's a lot more groups coming together. There's a lot more people going away on camping trips. We don't really have cottages in New Zealand. Mm-hmm. Our version of a cottage is a batch, and they're usually a bit more rundown houses than what I imagine cottages to be. So there's a lot of there's a lot of that kind of environment during a summertime. So when everyone's out and about and a bit more relaxed, what are they going to do? They're going to go to a cafe.
Oh, so that's when
and
you're
they're going to go
busy.
out to eat.
Yeah, because when January hits here, it's often a little bit quieter then because people don't have any money and we're in winter.
Mm-hmm.
So what about your winter then? Your winter is when our summer is.
Yeah. So winter is June, July to September.
Yeah.
Around there. It's not that it drops off. There's just kind of like a bit of a steady line that happens.
So in England, it's similar. Our coffee shops and restaurants and stuff are in towns. What's so different here is there's be lots of places that are in like a strip mall.
Right.
So we don't get busy with the lead up until Christmas here because we're not in a place where people will go and do their Christmas shopping. But where I've worked, where I'm in a town and everybody descends on the town to their Christmas shopping. So coffee shops are rammed at Christmas because that's where everything is. So I guess it's like working, if you worked in a mall here, I guess, the Starbucks and stuff there would be just so busy over the Christmas period. But then the rest of the year, it's probably very similar to what you're saying in New Zealand. It's just very steady. It's just the same.
Yeah.
People will always go into town all the time because that's where you have to go to get everything. Mm-hmm. So it's just a steady. We don't have like a drop in sales and then a huge increase in sales. Obviously busier at Christmas, and then it's just pretty steady the whole time. You don't really have that difference in sales that you do here in England.
Why do you think that is here then? Do you think it's because it's literally a seasonal thing where our seasons are very predominant here?
Well, a lot of time
especially
in winter,
where we live.
People don't come out. Mm-hmm. You know, like they don't come out as much, do they? And in the summer, they have a lot of people go away. The summers here are taken advantage of hugely by everybody. Like your summers here, the kids are off and they're going to do things and not necessarily sit in a coffee shop. They're going to be out because then they're in a lot of the time over winter. That's what I think. I might be wrong. But there's lots of cottages. There's lots of outdoor activities. Whereas because there isn't such extreme weathers in the seasons in England, then England just ticks along doing their usual routines all through the year kind of thing. I mean, obviously you're going to go on holidays or have trips, but it's pretty steady in the town all the time. Then the summer holidays will be a bit busier because you'll have lots of kids around, but that's what...
Do people go away a lot though in England during the summer?
Some people might have caravans, you know, there might be places that they go, but it's not as common as it is here where people are going to cottages or trying, you know, like going far away up north where it's completely different, you know, like environment for their relaxing time. Not really, no. When you're going to go abroad, if you're going to go on holiday, you're probably going to do that as your holiday, I would imagine. Anyway, I don't know where people are holidaying, but I'm just, you know, like it's not the same feeling as it is here where people escape and nobody's around at weekends. Very different, right?
It is very different. It's a very different mindset. When I first came here and people started asking me about Canada and what's the difference, like what's the difference between New Zealand and Canada? They used to ask me that question often. I found it really hard because everything is different. Mm-hmm. And so I used to reframe it and say, what's the same? And my answer was pretty much Starbucks and libraries because they pretty much operate the same. I don't remember why I was saying that.
I don't know how we're going to cap this off, to be fair.
Okay, I'll kind of round up our season chat like this. Here, I think what we've talked about is the essence that when you live in this part of Canada where we are in southern Ontario, when it's cold and it's snowy, you don't really go outdoors unless you are a snow activity person.
Mm-hmm. There's lots of hibernating that happens.
Yeah, unless you are a skier or a snowboarder or you've got all the toys to play on the snow with, which not a lot of people do, then you hibernate a lot.
Maybe not a lot of people do that we know.
That's true.
I feel like a lot of people do. We just are not.
Don't know them.
We're not acquainted with them.
So unless you have that ability to still enjoy the outdoors, there's a lot of hibernation that happens in Canadian wintertime.
I mean, it's not that you can't get around. You can get around real easy because
and it's not about that. It's just there is definitely a mental mood that also shifts during the colder months. That just something that happens. Everyone just gets a little bit quieter or a little bit more It takes a lot more effort to leave the house.
Yeah.
Even just clothing-wise, it takes a lot more effort to leave the house.
So not quite as busy.
Yeah. And so in the summertime, I get it when you're saying everybody wants the opportunity because they just want to enjoy the sun that's out, because you only have at a max about 3 months of really great.
That's why the spring's
weather.
so busy, because people are like, ooh, yay, it's a bit warmer, I can wear my
They've
t-shirt.
got time to do their garden, because also gardens don't stay very alive.
Yeah, May is one of our busiest months, along with October.
That's why the seasons are different. That's why it affects our job. Whereas it sounds like in our respective places, there's a little bit similarity in the sense of, because the seasons don't change as dramatically, the one season is the busier time, summer for us, because it's around Christmas, New Year's.
And winter at Christmas for
And then afterwards, it kind of just steady lines throughout the year.
Very steady. You don't have to worry about that. It's very consistent. All the weekends are the same. Yeah.
There you go. There's our weather chat for you. I used to have this friend, and I can't remember who it was, but we used to talk on the phone. And then by the time we got to the point of like a good hour worth of a chat, and then we started talking about the weather, we both said to one another, okay, so we've just started talking about the weather. We should probably go now.
Yeah, that's it. When I first moved here, and when my mum came to visit that first Christmas and winter, we lived in a different part, so it was a little bit more snowy. And I had to have the weather network on all the time. I was fascinated because, it's going to get this much snow and this much snow. And then in the summer, it's like, this is going to be a big thunderstorm. But it always changes.
Absolutely.
You've only
Much
got
like
to look
everywhere.
at it the morning of. So I don't watch the channel anymore. But me and Mum were just like, oh my God, 30 centimetres of snow. It's exciting when you first move here to experience that.
When you start seeing the weather turn from -2 to -17 to then -24 to then further down the negative track, you're like, wow, I can't believe I live in this place.
And then you live in it, and then you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, you're like, okay, -24, I need to make sure that I don't go outside with wet hair because otherwise it will freeze. Awesome, okay, have your shower at nighttime. Got it, okay, no taken. And then you carry on with life.
You just carry on. Yeah, it's great.
You learn the things.
Quite quickly.
Quite
the excitement
quickly.
and the excitement goes away. Although the first snowfall every year, there's always a bit like,
I love it.
I do like that. I think most people do. And then as it goes on and on and on, you're like, okay, I'm over it now.
Yeah. So my question for you, because I observed this the other night when I
it's a question.
went to the pub for dinner. I live in a very small village, and just around the corner from where I live, literally as in it takes me about 1 minute to walk to the pub. So I went to the pub the other night for dinner, and I'm sitting there, and I choose my stool, and then next to me is a guy sitting by himself, and then two couples on their own tables. And I was looking around, and all of us had our backs to the wall, and we were facing in towards the pub, even the two couples that were there. And I found it curious because I was just kind of observing all of our nature. And I'm like, well, first of all, I don't really like having my back towards an open door I don't like having my back towards an open door. I would rather have my back against the wall so that I can see what's going on, especially when I'm by myself.
Yeah, yes. You wouldn't sit and face the wall. That's weird.
No. And so, but I did look over at the couples and I thought, that's really interesting. You're sitting next to one another, but not also engaging in a lot of conversation, but kind of just both looking out into the pub. And so I did kind of wonder, I was like, maybe they've just, this is what we do every whatever night, and we go out to the pub and we don't really necessarily need to talk. We'll just watch whatever games on the TVs.
So there was TVs there.
There were TVs in the pub as well. But it did make me curious, when you go out to a cafe or a restaurant and you're going with somebody, do you sit next to them at a table or do you sit opposite them at a table? And we have had these discussions before. And also as a person behind the counter, it's really fascinating observing the human nature when they sit next to each other. You're like, what's going on? Are they feeling each other up underneath the table? Are they? And sometimes it is actually really uncomfortable.
Yes.
When people are sitting basically on top of one another.
Yeah.
At a cafe. He's like, no. That kind of public display of affection is not needed in a public area.
I'm just
Take yourself somewhere else.
Tell you a story, and then I'll go back and tell you how I would sit. But such a long time ago, there was 2 young people that came into the cafe and they sat at the side and they started snogging over the table.
For non-British people, snogging is making out.
I'm making out over the table, and it was noisy and it was off-putting. And other people moved that were sitting close by, and I'm like, nah, this is not the place. And I go over, like, and I couldn't just say, touch the shoulder and go, excuse me. I just slammed my hand on the table, and they both stopped and looked at me and went, you need to take it outside. Stop or take this outside. And then they sat back down, and then I just walked away. I felt so awkward. But people were looking and like, that's not right. And I'm like, oh no,
that is not
you
right.
need to stop. This is getting a little bit risque.
I'm going to follow that with my experience. 2 people were making out right where people stand waiting there for their to-go coffees. And then there was another group of people that had just spilt their drink. So I'm helping them mop their drink up while this couple right next to me is standing there making out. And I was just like, come on, like actually just like you couldn't get any closer than what they were right in that moment. And so then our barista came over and put 2 cappuccinos there and said, 2 cappuccinos. And they were just sucking face and not moving. And so I literally, like a 5-year-old, invaded their space, and I came up right in between them and looked up and I says, did you guys order cappuccinos? And they kind of like peered this, like pulled themselves apart, and they're like, oh yeah, I did. I'm like, they're right there. They're all ready. You can leave now.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Like, just take that business somewhere else. I don't care how much you are in love with somebody. Just don't do it in a
It's
cafe.
lovely that you're in love, but yeah,
No.
not in front of where you're picking up your drinks.
No.
Sort it out.
So, sitting next to each
Opposite.
other. You're an opposite person.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
What about if it's a square table and you've got one person like corner to each other?
Opposite.
Yeah?
I'm still opposite. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I am too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't sit side by side next to someone, but
No.
it creates conversation.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit weird when people are next to each other and they have to
Although
turn
that's
their
when you
head.
can
Or
see
they may be holding hands.
That's when
First date, maybe.
Yeah, that's when you can see where they're up to in their relationship status. If they are sitting next to each other, their heads are slightly lower, they're holding hands, and then you're just like, can I put the plate in front of you, please? And then I'm going to walk away really quickly.
Yeah, definitely opposite. And those people that you saw last night in the pub, they could have been married a long time, have nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
Just eat their dinner and go.
This is just what we do every Wednesday night. We're going to go out to the pub. Ready, dear? Yep. Hold on a second, I wasn't ready. Well, get yourself moving. We do this every Wednesday night. I don't know what your problem is.
And we don't talk to each other. We've got nothing to say anymore. We say that in the restaurant, though. We try and guess. Well, I think we've spoken about this before.
No, we haven't.
Haven't? Oh, okay.
Yeah, so start again.
So in the restaurant, we often, when we're not too busy, we'll say, have a look at table 3 or whatever. What do you think the relationship is like? They're sitting close together. They haven't had
Are
a
they
mouth.
on a first date? Are they on a blind date? Are they on a not date but trying to figure out whether they will be on a date sometime
It's so
soon?
interesting. I love watching people.
It
But we
is.
had that table 12 and we were like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you want to tell it?
Yeah, so there was this 2 people sitting at a table, and we kind of were trying to figure out what their relationship status was. And when you work in this industry, you learn body language pretty quickly. And the guy was definitely, what did I say? I said a saying, he was smitten. I said he was a lot more smitten than what she was. And then I said that to the kids, and they were like, what does smitten mean?
Yeah. So we're training them.
Yeah, we are training them. If you don't know what smitten is, then look it up. But he definitely seemed a lot more engaging than what she did. Although she was engaging, but just he was a lot more forthright in his body language, and she was a lot more just sitting upright in her chair.
Yeah.
Anyway, they ordered food eventually, and then we were like, okay, we'll see when they eat food what their relationship status is going to be like, where they're at. Because anyone who's comfortable with anybody else is just going to hole into that food and eat it however you want if you're hungry.
Yeah.
If you are slightly unsure about the person in front of you, you'll kind of eat it a little bit more in a dignified manner. And so they both got sandwiches and they both got soups as a side. And the sandwiches didn't get touched for a long time.
Yeah.
And those soups got eaten so slowly.
Yeah, little slurps.
Yeah. And like half spoons, because you don't want a full spoon of soup because that could go in wrong places.
Dribbling down your chin.
Yeah. So it was we definitely felt like they were on the beginning cusps of a
Definitely.
relationship.
That was very delicately eaten.
It was.
Not delivered in this podcast, but we've had people that have had their first dates come in because this is where they first met and had their engagement pictures.
Yes, we have had that. It's very sweet.
Yeah, and then they bring their kids in, and then we had that person come in on their wedding day.
Yes, we did. That was also very sweet.
Yeah, that was really sweet.
Yeah.
With a dress, and they got drinks and...
Yeah. You never know. You never know what you do and how you touch somebody's life in a 5-second interaction, which is why we carry on doing...
Yeah, which is what we said at the beginning. That's why we do it in the first place.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Anyway.
Okay, so now we're going to move into Who Does That? We didn't have one last week. Neither of us could think of one.
No.
Do you have one this week?
I do have one this week.
Okay.
So this is one from a while back. This young guy that I was working with was pouring a liquidy substance from one container into another.
Condensing, because we like a bit of condensing.
Yes, thank you. So he was condensing something bigger into something smaller. And he was pouring the bigger container into the smaller container. And as he's pouring, the little container keeps on being fuller and fuller and fuller to the point that it's like slightly starting to get up over to the rim of the container. And I said, whoa, hold on, wait a minute. What are you doing? Just stop for a second. He's like, what? I was like, what do you think is going to happen right now? He's like, it's going to overflow. I'm like, yeah. So what do you think you should do? I should probably stop.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. Because if you keep on going, it's going to overflow.
We're going to have a mess. Oh, so
and
funny.
It was one of those moments where I was just like, who does that?
Who doesn't think that you've got to stop? Well,
who does that?
I have to report back. On the past weekend, because I know who you're talking about and how this happened, same situation. We're going to be putting this liquid into a smaller one we're condensing.
Right.
But they stopped, but just a little bit too high, but still stopped and said, I've got this little bit left. What am I going to do with it? And then I went over and I said, well, actually, that is still a little bit too full. So then we had to figure out how to do this. Anyway, so it's a learning process, but it's...
So he learned.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He's
Look
a very
at him go.
smart kid. I just don't think he really... He was like, what am I going to do?
I think it's just a callback to... We've talked about common sense before. Is common sense a learned thing?
Yeah.
Or is it something that you just innately have? And I think for some things, it's a learned thing.
Yeah, especially if you're put in a situation and you haven't done it before, you don't know what to do, and maybe you feel like you're under the spotlight a bit, which is sometimes I find with newer people, they're like, what am I supposed to do if I can't fit, like I need to fit this in? And I don't know whether that was going through his mind. He's so
Either
funny.
way.
He's
Who
a great
does
kid.
that? He is a great kid.
Yeah, he is a great kid.
That's not what we're doing at all.
No.
And it's not about putting him down.
It's just,
It was a very funny situation because he knew the answer. That was the funniest thing. It wasn't what he was doing. It wasn't what was going on. It was, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to overflow.
Yep.
What do you think you should do? Probably stop pouring. Yep.
Let's do that now, shall we? Before we have a mess to clear up for the end of the night.
Anyway, that's my who does that. Do you have a who does that?
Well, mine's more of a, why would you do that?
Okay.
Why
Changing
would you
things
do
up
that?
again?
So I've changed it a bit. We have a viewing station that looks into our kitchen and prep area. So it's a large window. Actually, there's 2 large windows. And people can look in and see what you're doing, basically. Open kitchen, whatever concept. And this was a long time ago. There's like a wall underneath it, so you can see that you need to stop, and then there's a window, which also has writing on it.
Mm-hmm.
So this lady very confidently came striding towards the window where I was standing the other side of it to ask me something, and just kept coming. And I'm like, you're going to stop in a minute, right? You're going to stop? And I thought she stopped where the wall is, like her bottom half, as it were, and then didn't realise that there was a glass, and then whacked her head really forward to ask me the question. And it went, like the window wobbled.
Oh my goodness.
And she's stunned. Like that wasn't just a light little tap of the forehead. Her whole face was imprinted on the glass. Like she proper walked into it. And first of all, if you didn't know already, I laugh at tripping and falling and things like that. Unless somebody is seriously hurt, I would obviously be able to compose myself. But so that to me is like, this is the funniest thing that's. But I was looking straight at the smudge on the window and then at her, and I was just like, "You okay?" But I could see people sitting at the tables trying to hold in their laughter because they'd watched it. I could hear the person I was working with in the back kitchen area laughing. She didn't say anything to me. She turned around and walked back to her table, at which point I then had to duck down and try not to wet myself laughing. It was so funny. Like, why would you do that? I don't know if people just don't see the glass, but somebody else, it was a bit more serious. An older guy handed some cups through to me. He's like, "Here you go." And then the cup broke and he was cut and there was all this hoo-ha and that we had to document and he had to go to hospital. They came back in the next day. He had a couple of stitches, but I didn't see the glass. It's like, oh
wow.
my God, why would you do that? And
why would you do that?
I know, I like this little section. Why would you stand on the other side of the glass and we're on this side and have a conversation with me? Do you think I can hear you?
Of course, because it's
glass? Magic powers?
Magic sound glass, because you can...
And you're like, no clue what you're talking about. You have to come to the end and ask me the question. But they just chat away like you can hear them and then you're just looking at them like, nope.
Can't hear you.
I'm trying to understand. And then you do the shout back. You need a bag. A bag for you.
Then you start playing charades with the customers on the other side
like,
of the glass.
got ya. Sometimes you can get it and they're yelling at you and you're like, oh my God, this piece of glass. Have you ever walked into anything?
No.
Never?
I feel like I can confidently say no.
Oh, I'm a screen door. I walk into screen doors.
Okay. So the reason why I'm like, I'm saying I'm very cocky about this, but my family is a piss-taking family.
You know.
So if I did something ever stupid like that, especially when I was younger, they would not have let me forget about it.
That would become a Christmas story
Absolutely.
that gets told every year.
Yeah. And so, just the nighttime table.
Oh, okay.
It would have been absolute mockery.
Yeah.
Because that's how we roll.
I walk into screen doors.
Yeah.
It flipping hurts. It's not glass, but it still hurts. So
do you not pay attention or you just...
I just don't think I see them because the door's open and the screen's across and I'm obviously not very screen savvy. I don't know. We don't have screens in England, so I'm just like go to stride out. And the door's open. So in my head, the door's open.
Right.
And then I've gone ricocheted off of a few screen doors. It does hurt. One of them was at the owner's house. I was there and I thought I got away with it, but I did not get away with it.
Everyone saw you?
Yeah.
Had you had a little bit something to drink by
I had
that
on
point?
That occasion. Actually, I think I had on both occasions.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go.
Don't drink and try and get out of a screen door.
Don't drink in screen doors.
My sister's run into a patio door at home in England.
What do you mean a patio door?
A sliding door.
Oh, okay.
And my mum was doing the gardening and the phone had rung and my sister answered it and, "Can I speak to your mum, please?" Yes. So she goes running to tell mum and then whacks into the door. And then, like, my mum still doesn't know and then falls backwards and then slowly opens the sliding door and goes, Mum, the phone.
She's just lying on the ground.
Yeah, she's just, like, shocked herself and, like that hurts.
Yeah, I can imagine.
She did what that woman did. I bet her face print was on the window. Oh, so funny.
That is so funny.
So that was my... why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
So now you have to see if you can think of some. Why would you do? There's lots of them. It's very similar to Who Does That, but it's like,
yeah.
Why?
Who Does It is more of a frustration thing.
Yeah.
Whereas a why would you do that is kind of a, are you really that stupid?
Yeah. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you feeling okay?
Do you have all of your sandwiches in the picnic basket there, or is one missing?
One sandwich is missing. Are you ready?
For
Milo's
question of the week.
If you were somebody that film producers wanted to make a movie about,
just imagine.
Who would you want to play you?
What famous person would I want to play me?
because well, if I was playing myself in the movie,
Okay.
which I wouldn't because I'm not very good at acting, just not very good at any of that really. And I had to pick my partner, I'd pick Patrick Dempsey
As your partner?
as my partner
As
in
your
my
love
life
interest
story.
in
Yeah.
life?
Yeah.
You do. You have quite a fancy for Patrick Dempsey.
Yeah, I do. Well, who wouldn't? I don't like. Who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't?
That's
Why would
my
you
next
not?
question. Who wouldn't have a fancy for Patrick Dempsey? But to play me, Olivia Colman,
Great choice.
Kate Winslet.
Another great choice.
My husband would like it for Kate Winslet to play me.
Well, if he was playing himself.
Yeah. He'd be like, oh, yeah, that's fine. Kate can play Helen. What about you? I'm not going to know the name. I'm not going to know this person, am I?
Well, so we went through this very quickly before we push record.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I don't really know the question. Sometimes Milo's asked the question at work and we've already had this discussion. I'm really glad that we had this discussion beforehand because if you'd asked me right here and now, I would absolutely be stumped and just say, I don't know.
I feel like when the question was asked, because this was a long time ago, this question came, I don't think you knew. And I also think it was busy men. You were like, I don't know. I don't have time for this. So
now I have an answer.
Right.
The answer that I came up with just before was Melanie. Oh my goodness. Melanie Linsky.
Yeah. Can you bring her up on the old Google?
Technology.
And why?
First of all, she's a Kiwi actress.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you'll recognize her face, but this is her. So Melanie Linsky, she actually, fun fact, one of her first movies was with Kate Winslet when she was like 16 or 19 years old, between those ages.
Right.
And Peter Jackson was the guy that directed I think it's called Heavenly Creatures.
I haven't seen it. Or
No.
if I have, I don't remember.
But yeah, she's just like super sweet, super kind. I don't know if that describes me very well.
Does she get chippy?
I don't know her personally, so I wouldn't know. But I was just like,
But they act. It's okay. We're both good.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure the people that would play me are obviously nothing like me.
What, you mean
Apart
Kate
from they have the
Winslet?
same accent.
Oh, right.
Right.
Anyway, Melanie. Oh my goodness, why can I not say her name? Too many L's.
I just watched this Instagram thing this
No, we're
morning
gonna
where
try
the
again.
girl couldn't say fork and spoon. Like she's trying to eat something and she says, and you put this on your, I can't do it wrong. She kept saying spork and then she tried to correct it and then she couldn't do it again and it went on and she's laughing at herself and she's like, what the fuck is this called? And she's waving a spoon. That's you trying to say Melanie.
Yeah.
Melanie.
Melanie.
Who would play your family members?
Oh, heck. This is a ridiculous
I
thing
know.
to go
I've
down.
just stretched Milo's story.
Yeah. I can't answer this in a very quick way. I don't know. I can't
If
think of anyone.
Spike Milligan was still alive,
Spike Milligan?
he's a comedian. Or
Yeah.
was a comedian in England. That would play my dad because my dad looks like Spike Milligan.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I can't think for my mum. I don't know. You're right. It's too much to think about. Anyway, Milo's.
Also, what kind of movie would they create when they make a story about either of us?
Yeah, just one that is just always at work.
Yeah.
And this is what we're going to do today. We're going to get up, we're going to go to work, and then we're going to go home and put your pajamas on. Eat some food and go. There's nothing really that exciting, is there?
No.
Well, apart from that we moved. There's somebody that works for us. He's the other manager, and he has 4-book series for his life.
He doesn't actually have a 4-book series.
No.
Like, there's not a book out there for his life.
but there could be.
We look at his life and we're like, dude, you could write
Definitely.
a 4-part series on what you've done and what you've lived.
Yes.
Yep.
I love it. I think somebody should write it and then it could be a movie. But he has like sections of his life where you're like, oh, that would be a great book. And we've moved on to this one and it's like, oh, this would be a great book. So he has potential.
I think everybody has potential when you really look at our lives.
I guess. Yeah, but then mine is just, maybe mine is one book, like of the stupid stuff I've done and the
You're
one
kind of
book.
funny. It would
One
be a
book.
good book to read.
But then after that, it's like, oh, this is such a boring book.
And then she got up and then she went to work.
Yeah.
And then she came home and then she got up. Then she went to work.
Yeah. Then she did this, put a little bit of shopping thrown in there. So that's so boring, but maybe
But
in my younger
then
days.
things turned around when one day she decided to purchase some podcast equipment.
Oh, there you go.
And life would never be the same again.
This is chapter 1. No. Yeah, we're still in the first book now. We're only, let's
What
go.
the heck are you doing?
Let's go. I'm just trying to think where my podcast is but we've done 6. So we're a couple of chapters in, I guess. I've got to go. This is so boring for you listeners. I'm so sorry. Maybe there won't be a number 7 because we don't know what we're doing on this one. Right. Let's wrap her up. We will be back next week. Hope you have a really good week. All right. Have a good idea, everybody. Have a good idea. Oh, wait. What have you got to do?
If you'd like to get in touch with us, reach out at pod.andanotherthing@gmail.com. If you have somebody in mind that you think, hey, Kate Winslet would also play me, and I would love Patrick Dempsey to be my love interest, then let us know. If you have other things that you want to share, whether you move countries or whether you've worked in hospitality, also let us know. We'd love to share them here. We'd love to give you a voice as well. If you want to find us on Instagram, it's And Another Thing Podcast.
Alrighty. Now we're wrapping it up. I keep looking at Jo, but she just keeps laughing and rubbing her eyes. I don't know whether we're wrapping it up or not. Are we wrapping it up?
We're wrapping it up.
We're wrapping it up. Have a good idea.
Have a good idea.
See you next week.